Good morning. Today we are going to learn Indian banking system. So, a bank is a financial institution that provides banking and other financial services to their customers, such as accepting deposits and providing loans. A banking system, also referred as a system provided by the bank, which offers cash management services for customers, reporting the transactions of their accounts and portfolios throughout the day. The banks safeguards the money and valuables and provides loans, credits, and payments of services such as checking accounts, money orders, and cashier's checks. The banks also offer investment and insurance products. Need of the banks to provide the security to the savings of customers, to control the supply of money and credit, to encourage public confidence in the working of the financial system, increase savings speedily and efficiently, to avoid focus of financial powers in the hands of the few individuals and institutions, to set equal norms and conditions to all types of customers. History. The first bank in India, called the General Bank of India, was established in the year 1786. The East India Company established the Bank of Bengal and Calcutta, Bank of Bombay, and Bank of Madras. The next bank was Bank of Hindustan, which was established in 1870. These three individual unit banks of Calcutta, Bank of Bombay, and Bank of Madras were called as Presidency Banks. Allahabad Bank, which was established in 1865, was the first time completely run by Indians. Punjab National Bank Limited was set up in 1894 with headquarters at Lahore. Between 1906 and 1913, Bank of India, Central Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Indian Bank, and Bank of Mysore were set up. In 1921, all presidency banks were amalgamated to form the Imperial Bank of India, which was run by European shareholders. After that, the Reserve Bank of India was established in April 1935. Government policy on banking industry to protect the safety of the public savings, to control the supply of money and credit in order to achieve a nation's broad economic goal, to ensure equal opportunity and fairness in the public access to credit and other vital financial services, to promote public confidence in the financial system so that savings are made speedily and efficiently, to avoid concentrations of financial power in the hands of a few individuals and institutions, provide the government with credit, tax revenues, and other services, to help sectors of the economy that they have special credit needs, for example, housing, small business, and agricultural loans, etc. Regulations for Indian Bank. Commercial banks are regulated by government entities and require a special bank license to operate. Usually, the definition of the business of banking for the purposes of regulation is extended to include acceptance of deposits, even if they are not repayable to the customer's order. Although money lending, central banking regulates the banking industry. Central banks also typically have a monopoly on the business of issuing banknotes. Classification of banking industry. Indian banking industry has been divided into two parts, organized and unorganized sectors. The organized sector consists of Reserve Bank of India, commercial banks and cooperative banks, and specialized financial institutions IDBI, ICICI, IFC. The unrecognized sector, which is not homogeneous, is largely made up of money lenders and indigenous bankers. An outline of the Indian banking structure may be present as follows: Reserve Bank of India, Indian Scheduled Commercial Banks, State Bank of India and its associated bank, State Bank of India as its associated banks, 20 nationalized banks, regional rural banks, other scheduled commercial banks, foreign banks, non scheduled banks, cooperative banks. Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India is a central bank and was established in April 1st, 1935 in accordance with the provisions of Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. The central officer of RBI is located at Mumbai. Since nationalization in 1949, RBI is fully owned by the Government of India. It was inaugurated with share capital of 5 crores, dividend into share of 100 each fully paid up. The RBI Act 1934 was commenced on April 1, 1935. The Act 1934 provides the statutory base of the functioning of the bank. The bank was constituted for the need of following: to regulate the issue of banknotes, to maintain reserves with a view to securing monetary stability, to operate the credit and currency system of the country to its disadvantage. Functions of RBI. Bank of Issue. The RBI formulates, implements, and monitors the monetary policy. Its main objective is maintaining price stability and ensuring adequate flow of credit to productive sector. Regulator supervision of the financial system. RBI prescribes parameters of banking operations within which the banking and financial system functions. Their main objectives are to maintain public confidence in the system, protect depositors' interest, and provide cost effective banking services to the public. Indian Scheduled Commercial Banks. Commercial bank, an institution which accepts deposits, makes business loans, and offers related services. Commercial banks also checking, savings, and time deposits. These institutions are run to make a profit and owned by a group of individuals. Yet, some may be members of the Federal Reserve System. While commercial banks offer services to individuals, they are primarily concerned with receiving deposits and lending to business. The commercial banking structure in India consists of scheduled commercial banks and unscheduled banks. Scheduled banks. Scheduled banks in India constitute those banks which have been included in the second schedule of RBI Act 1934. Scheduled banks are those banks whose minimum paid up capital and reserve are not less than 25 lakhs. Scheduled banks in India means the State Bank of India constitute under the State Bank of India Act 1955, a subsidiary bank as defined in the State Bank of India Act 1959, a corresponding new bank constituted under Section 3 of the Banking Companies Act 1980. Private sector, public sector, and foreign banks comes under the umbrella of scheduled commercial banks. Cooperative banks. Cooperative banks' role in rural financing continues to be important even today, and their business in the urban areas also has increased phenomenally in recent years, mainly due to the sharp increase in the number of primary cooperative banks. While the cooperative banks in rural areas mainly finance agricultural based activities, including farming, cattle, milk, hatchery, personal finance, etc., along with some small scale industries and self employment driven activities, the cooperative banks in urban areas mainly finance various categories of people for self employment, industries, small scale units, home finance, consumer finance, personal finance, etc. Examples of cooperative banks: Saraswat Cooperative Bank, Jankalyan Bank, etc. When a person receives a check drawn on any other banker, he has two options before him: either to receive the payment personally or through his agent at the counter of the drawee bank, or to send in this banker for the purpose of the collection from the drawee bank. While collecting check on behalf of the customer, a bank acts either as holder for value or as agent of the customer. Collecting the check takes some time in case of outstanding checks. If the collecting banker pays to the customer the amount of the check or credits such amount to his account and allows him to draw it before the amount of the check is actually realized from the drawee banker, the collecting banker is deemed is to its holder for value. The banker would be regarded as a holder for value in the following ways. If bank allows his customer to withdraw money before check paid in for collection are actually collected and credited. If any open check is accepted and the value is paid before collection, and or if there is a reduction in the overdraft amount of the customer before the check is collected and credited in the respective account. If he gives it value to the customer by lending further on the strength of the checks. If the gives its value to the customer by paying over the amount of the check or part, it is cash or in account before is cleared. If he gives cash over the counter for the check at the time he is paid in for collection. The rights of bankers as a holder for value. If the bank acts as a holder, his rights will be the same as of holder in due course. Hence, the collecting banker enjoys all the rights and liabilities of a holder and hence a holder in due course. Note that title of holder in due course is superior to the title of true owner. If there is a forged endorsement on the back of the check, then the paying banker is liable to compensate the damage caused to the true owner and the collecting banker possesses the right to cover this damage from the last endorser. So, in case of an instrument containing forgery, the title of true owner is superior. If the last endorsee, the customer is unable to meet the liability, then the banker will have to bear the burden. If the check sent for collection is dishonored, then the collecting banker can sue all previous parties after giving them notice of dishonor. It is, however, essential that the amount of check is paid to the customer in good faith. A collecting banker acts as an agent of the customer when the customer's check is collected and actually realized from the drawee banker. The customer is entitled to draw an amount from his account when the amount of check has been credited to his account. Thus, the bank is acting as an agent of the customer and charges him the commission of collecting the amount from outstation bank. If the check collected by the bank does not belong to his customer, he will be held liable for conversion of money. Conversation means wrongful meddling or interference with the goods of others. Here, goods includes bill of exchange, check or promissory note. It can be committed innocently. Conversion is the act which renders the person liable committing. This liability exists even when the person is merely acts as an agent to his principal. Therefore, a banker, however innocently may have converted the goods of another bank, will be held personally liable. This liability exists because the banker is acting as an agent and not as an holder for value. If it is so, no banker will be a position to collect a check for his customer. Hence, the collecting banker should take due precautions to avoid the risk of conversion involved therein. It is a difficult task for a collecting banker to examine the validity of the title of his customer when one has to collect so many checks daily in ordinary course of his business. Legal statutory protection to the collecting bankers. Section 131 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 provides the protection to the collecting banker against the risk of conversion as follows. A banker who has in good faith and without negligence received payment of a check for a customer crossed generally or specially to himself shall not, in case of the title to the check proves defective, in currency liability to the true owner of the check by reason only of having received such payment. The protection will be available to the collecting banker if the following conditions are satisfied. The check must be crossed check. The payment must be received for a customer. Payment must be received in good faith and without negligence. The payment procedure must be with good faith and without any negligence. Grounds of negligence: opening of account without proper introduction, irregularity of endorsement, no inquiry is being made is doubtful case, failure to take note of not negotiable crossing, collection of account payee check for any other person. There is no specific meaning being clarified by the banking laws, but on the basis of circumstances aroused, court of law have given judgments, and that is why the meaning of the scope is negligence ever expanding based on the new circumstances. Even to avail the protection under Section 131 of the Negotiable Instrument Act, the collecting banker has to prove that act was made without any negligence. This is because The true owner's case is complete as soon as conversion is provided against the banker. Negligence under Section 131 is more or less artificial as there is no contractual relationship between the true owner and the collecting banker. Negligence is doing of that which a reasonable man under all the circumstances of a particular case which he is acting would not to do, or the failure to do something which a reasonable man under those circumstances would do. As the word negligence cannot be determined with some specific and grounds for all the cases, the study constitutes the following probable heads under which negligence should be divided. Negligence connected with immediate collection. Collecting a check drawn against the principal's account to the private account of the agent without enquiry. Collecting a check payable from the firm to the private account of a partner without enquiry. Collecting a check payable from the company to the private account of a director, any other officer without enquiry. Check payable from employer to the private account of employee to the private account of employee. Check payable from trust account to the private account of the person operating the trust account. Duties of collecting banker. Collecting checks with due care and presenting it to drawee banker at reasonable time. Presenting the check to drawee banker on next working day in case of what the banks are located in same area. Sending the check through clearinghouse or post to drawee bank in case of outstation bank. Taking due care and precaution for the interest of true owner for a check. Verify the endorsement properly on order check. The banker on whom the check is drawn or the banker who is required to pay the check drawn on him by a customer is called the paying banker or drawee banker. Precautions to be taken by the payee banker. He should see the check is drawn in proper form and satisfies all the requirements of a valid check. He should verify whether the check is dated or not. He should satisfy himself that the amount payable is certain. He should see whether there is a sufficient amount in the bank account. The banker should see whether the check is signed by the drawer. The banker should see whether the check is drawn on the same branch of the bank in which the drawer has account. When a check is presented to him at the counter, the paying banker must verify whether it is an open check or not. The banker should see whether there is any material alteration in the check. When a check presented for payment is mutilated, he should check whether it is international or accidental. The paying banker is given some statutory protection in respect of risk or difficulties faced by him. The protection to the paying banker is laid down in section 85, 16, 85 and 85A, 89 and 128 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. If the customer signature is forged and hence cannot debit the amount to the customer's account, endorsement of the payee or the endorsed subsequently turns out to be forged and there is apart irregularity in endorsement. Payment of bearer check. Payment of these checks at the counter on presentation discharges the banker from liability. Payment of order checks. The banker is discharged from liability if the payment is made in due course. Bankers is not liable in case of payment done at the time of presentation to check which is not crossed or have had a crossing which has been obliterated. In case of an alternation between the electronic image and the truncated check, it is the liability of the clearinghouse or bank, section 89, subsection 2. Definitions of a bank, types of commercial banks, functions of commercial banks. A bank is like a pool into which the flow of savings, the idle surplus money of households and from which loans are given on interest to individuals and others who need them for investments or productive uses. The Banking Companies Act of India defines the bank as a bank is a financial institution which accepts money from the public for the purpose of lending or investment repayable or demand or otherwise withdrawable by checks, draft or order or otherwise. Commercial banks are the institutions that make short term loans to business and in the process create money. Types of commercial banks: deposit banks, industrial banks, savings banks, exchange banks, agricultural banks, miscellaneous banks. Functions of commercial banks. Commercial banks have to perform a variety of functions which are common to both developed and developing countries. These are known as general banking functions of the commercial banks. The modern banks perform a variety of functions. These can be broadly divided into two categories: primary functions, secondary functions. Primary functions: acceptance of deposits, advancing loans, creation of credit, clearing of checks, financing foreign trade, remittance of funds.